Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the result. If you can figure out an now, was that
It was don't.
I did. Who are you?
Everything we found, the blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
It's not true!
Hero, why?
No! Just hold on a second!
Everything we found in the blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough.
No, that's wrong. I got it! Other than Hero, I can't... I got it! I got it!
You had it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst, you miserable wretch. You had it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree.
this should prove it?
As we know, Taka was banned from there.
Yeah, then loaded it on.
Now, keep in mind...
Well, yeah. All you'd have to do is bend over. Then you could push the dolly no problem. So the killer and carted the
If you accept, then you must realize that who... sorry, I don't think I realized... As we know, Taka banned from there.
Yeah, then loaded it onto the...
Now, keep in mind...
Well, yeah. But even with all you'd have to do is bend over.
No, that's wrong. I got it!
So, regarding I wonder if he died, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of...
It's true that Hifumi was killed with just while Taka's death came.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
So, regarding Taka's...
I wonder if... Or perhaps it was... We already know what Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammer.
It's true that Hifumi was killed while Taka's death.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
So, regarding...
I wonder if... Or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed in.
No, that's wrong. Hold on. There's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their numbers. If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order, but in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi? Okay then, let's see the proof.
Now I understand. I got it. Taka's wristwatch. See? Look. It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer.
Oh my god, my mic was muted. I apologize, guys.
So if it wasn't broken after 6 last night...
And that would be his official time of...
But if that's true...
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other...
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made
Yeah.
the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
That may be true in the case of but all of our...
That's right. When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko. Then we all ran down to the nurse's office. And that's where we found his body.
That's totally true. We're all in the clear.
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him scream.
If that's true,
I don't know.
don't just go make it.
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream. Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could...
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged... Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could, because, as we just established, she was passed out.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway.
In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared.
Kyoko.
They could have done those things.
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing. And according to what Celeste said, his body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up...
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
What?
If the dead body were to move itself.
The dead...
No! Not another... ghost!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. We thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was
Wait.
alive?
Yeah, because he woke up and said he...
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office?
But I mean, we found...
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
that it isn't possible.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
And he wiped his
Are we
glasses to be
really
able to
so
see.
sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt. And you know that. Surely you heard the body discovered. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
I think I need to grab that last one and go to what Celeste said.
No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body. Hifumi's dead, and that is...
Are we really? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first... there's a chance he...
No. Hifumi was dead,
And you know that
Surely you heard the body discovery announced. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
Yep, there we are. Oh, I'm getting a bit better at this now.
Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if two bodies had been found, there really should have been...
Yeah,
two
I was
announcements.
thinking that.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy.
What do you say, Monokuma?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can... But what I can say about it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy...
No, actually, that was plenty.
Huh?
There we
You
go,
said it's
back
only
up.
broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time, which means even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice. Shoot! I got it! We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the two bodies. seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma...
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies in...
And in reality, when the two dead bodies were rediscovered, being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came...
And that's just part... There's one other thing that leads me to believe...
I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! That is the worst luck. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still...
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body. Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
Celeste, I can't believe you've done
This
this.
whole thing is pointless.
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body, and then his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
True, yes.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved...
Yep, here we are. There's no
other than
differences.
the change in how it was positioned...
Oh, no, it's the next one.
Shoot! Well, here's one thing. The first time we found him, and then his body
And the next time, it was in...
But when you compare his body other than the change, there was no
notable difference.
There we are. I knew it. I didn't read what she put on this, whatever.
In fact, there was one clip his glass. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to feel the rest of it?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item. I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear.
Finally, Hifumi's dead.
This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera. And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was Princess Piggles. From Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi.
I see your point. And the only people here who...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
Then it must have been him.
So let's assume that Hifumi was still... He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean, so then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead,
Why, I'm guessing.
what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
No, it was Taka's blood, I'm guessing.
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergency.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out. Somebody got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done. God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easy. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
I got it! It could only have been
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment.
That also explains how the door to the
The door was locked? Well, after the bodies disappeared, me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
Pardon me.
The repository door can only be locked from the inside, which means when Hina and Sakura got to the repository,
And it could only have been Hifumi who
Taka himself.
stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to... So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means...
If you're having trouble, would you like...
There's...
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest... You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto?
I got it!
There we are.
You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in...
What? In pants?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note said.
I found a home me we can use to escape. Okay, can't find out. So don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the equipment room at 6 AM.
Ah, that's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, Monokuma can't find out, so don't...
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro. And that person could only have been...
Me! Me, Hifumi's pants, or Taka.
I got it! That's right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter. So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy! Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi. Ugh! Yes! Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
What happened at 6 AM? What happened at 6 AM? What happened at 6 AM? Okay, 6 AM, 6 AM. 6 AM. It's this one.
Then the person it was must have been Huffy! But remember, what time did it... 6 a.m. The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
No, that's wrong!
Alright, thanks, I guess. Bog. Gentle must have been so boring, Jesus
No,
Christ.
there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
What the hell are you talking
The
about?
note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wrist, but there's more. Look where the note, the equipment room.
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, no further objections!
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka... Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka.
Where's your proof?
I know this one.
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper.
The white noise is very annoying, though,
If I'm
is my
right
point.
about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Then Taka's scrap.
Yup. They're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one...
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that?
That means Hifumi knew the note.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive.
God damn it, you're wrong.
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, the second body discovery...
So then...
Whoever did is the...
He was killed in the repository. So he must have...
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished. But before we found...
During that time, we'd all split up. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid... Who are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when
Knock her out,
bothers
Aoi.
me too,
In fact, don't, you'll probably die.
something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might...
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurses. So if Hifumi was killed, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi.
Oh, that's the clean hammer.
The hammer, but wouldn't that be...
I'm surprised. It seems there's some...
Hell yeah, it's packed in there.
He's right, though. I don't understand it. The Monokuma, but if the hammer...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their head? Personally, So which hammer was used to attack Celeste?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big.
Is it not possible they used...
I don't think it is possible. They were both...
So then, what would...
I know. Yep, knew it, right.
What was used to kill him? Was it Justice Ham? Maybe Justice...
Well, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info.
One thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammer.
No,
Easy.
that's wrong. The murder weapon wasn't a Justice Hammer at all.
But, seriously?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily... Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has, and even some flat mallet. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used the hammer to kill him.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him.
Celeste.
Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with the way the graduation rule works. There is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not? Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one, only the one who actually carried out the act can, assuming the rule holds true. It is simply impossible that...
That is how the rule was explained.
But that only really applies if there's one murder. In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules, even if more than one, only the one who actually, assuming the rule holds true.
That is.
But that only really... In this case, however, there were two murders.
Come on, I wanted that.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one, only the one who actually, assuming the rule holds true.
That is.
But that only really... In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules, even if more than one, only the one who actually carried out the, assuming
The rule holds true.
it is simply impossible.
Bang!
No, that's wrong. Since
Roof.
there were two murders, it's at least
Oh, what, Shadow?
possible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward.
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to... However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out.
But Hero didn't come out. Hero was supposed to be the one to be murdered.
So in this case, there wasn't one. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because a single suspicious individual, by creating one scene.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved, but then who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now.
Here's my answer.
I can't believe I'm doing this adults first.
So I'm...
A joke?
So what you are saying then is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to... that I would go within 10 feet of that...
Shit for brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence.
Oh my
to support
god.
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior. Considering what we've learned so far, it only.
Shoot! I got it!
Oh yeah, true.
The behavior they had in common has to do with the only ones who ever actually saw Robo Justice firsthand were Celeste.
Shush. The adults are talking now. As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costume. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we
YouTube,
can't help
yeah.
but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual. And not too long after that, do you remember? we headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, once she'd done her job, it was time for her part.
It was to get us to divide into two groups, so that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Wow. I put this together way earlier than this, but like, yeah. I mean, I didn't get the part of Fumi moving himself. That's why I didn't get at the start. But apart from that, I pretty much bang on with all of it.
If Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing... That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the third floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead, Celeste, you were the first one to... You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything, the whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body did...
Yeah. I was feeling kind of sick, so Celeste took me to... Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the pick... Wouldn't you agree?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to... You made one...
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when looking back. I can say that that one... I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body...
I remember her saying that.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were... Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the four of us headed to the... Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Alright.
All I said was... They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said, they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be... We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died.
Shoot!
What?
All I said was... They must really be enjoying the sight of us standing around. They must be... We are all going to die here. We are going to die. And that is all I...
And that's all it takes.
What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Yoink.
All I said, they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be positive. We are all going to die. We are going to die. Just like...
Yoink.
No, that's wrong.
Yeah, no, In the time you've gone, I've
That's right.
lived the trippiest
There's
altogether.
no reason Celeste
I already
said,
knew most of it,
"Just
apart
like
from the fact
those
that
guys
Hifumi was
died."
still alive.
When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was...
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imagination.
Imagination.
You claim that I was lying. Then what about the picture I took?
Oh
How do
yeah.
you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging his...
It has to be some kind of... Celeste, put the suit on. And...
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the...
What could you possibly...
Surely there are other
No, there is...
Shoot!
Which one is it?
I got it! It's not a picture of the... I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't...
Oh! Yeah, over his shoulders.
We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
that's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
There's so many dead people.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious...
Oh, it's the next one.
Shoot!
You dressed me up in that, then you just draped me. You tried to make me look...
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person in... There's no way they could stand up straight like...
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit.
No way!
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out!
Then you just draped me. You tried to make me look...
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing... If the person inside the suit... There's no way they could stand up straight like...
Bang! You can't bend over.
No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand because that robo-justice...
That's right! They told...
I'm not so sure. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole... The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Celeste?
Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem. Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying? When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not?
Look at her voice. Her voice is actually like just changing a lot.
And I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Right! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's actually Taro!
Your confusing statements don't make it.
He did say Yasuhiro. But are we
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko,
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
I got it! That's right! Our last names!
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental, by chance. Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random facts. Now isn't that a convenient... No. There's no reason to think, but he must have run out of energy before he...
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the...
But the name he said doesn't...
Well, no. And that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit! Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I? What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then
Fine! Make my real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
E-handbook, yeah.
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name.
Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last...
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told any...
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is Celestia Ludenberg! God damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me...
Shut up.
no, that's wrong. That's it. The handbook.
What?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, Monokuma told us... So all we have to do is... That's how we can find out...
That's an invasion of...
Celeste, can you please just tell her, please?
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up because until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me go over the case again, and that'll bring...
Now I'm curious of what her last name is. Not her last name, her name. Super Saiyan Tiger. Oh, I miss Super Saiyan Taka. Which one was the one which was used to kill Taka? Was it 3 or 5? No, it was 4. Yeah, it was 4. Come on. Hifumi used something to fit the existence of a shadowy criminal. Guessing it's that one. And where's Justice Hammer was in the nurse's office when Hifumi was pretending to be dead? 3. Hammer 2 in the library. This, and then that's it, right? That's it.
Is you.
Celeste, game over.
The killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. Hifumi, with an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. They drugged him, knocked him out. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo Justice was attacking him. While the killer
I can imagine. I believe it might be alter ego.
They did all this just to create evidence that would, when they were done with him. And then finally, they called
I want
Taka
Taka
to the
back. I like Taka now. Oh.
And that's where Hifumi killed him. The murder weapon was Justice. The reason hammer number 4 was... So, for these attacks, the first there, they wanted to... The second, this time, with these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our mind that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their... While we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office, and once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies... But even Hifumi didn't know what the... Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary... That should cover everything that happened in this... Celeste, sorry, you lose.
Oh, I like Celeste. Why?
I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it?
Listen to you. Celestia Ludentaiko. Yasuhiro is fine.
Taiko?
So, you finally accept.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
Awesome. Oh, I liked. Oh.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or, I suppose this is the end.
It is indeed the moment, if you would. Please. And when the votes are tapped, will you make the right choice or the...
Oh.
Honestly.
I knew it.
True, yeah.
So then,
Indeed.
Say what?
just a second. In other words,
Indeed.
I see.
Actually,
What?
are you okay with this? So then,
Damnation! Say what?
as for me,
Oh.
as for me,
What? Damnation! Say what?
Wow. Is it bad that I like Celeste more now?
Completely unforgivable!
Oh my god!
most unfortunate. Actually,
What?
indeed.
Completely unforgivable!
Honestly,
I swear!
actually,
Wow. Big brain art.
I see.
indeed.
But...
Let's
Oof.
see.
Well,
Are you okay?
Believe it or not. Oh my
so
god.
in the end,
What the heck?
Well,
don't be mean!
I wonder about that. Why?
What the heck?
But...
You little bitch.
Oof.
You little bitch.
This is fine. Honestly. As for me, isn't it wonderful? This is fine.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
There is nothing to be done.
Just the worst.
Oh. Do you understand?
What is this?
Wow.
Yes, indeed. Isn't it wonderful?
Hey,
Thrills, Chip! Now then, I prepared a very special punishment.
No, I'm really happy that I genuinely like that.
What? Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way. Which is why, actually, it's not important. Well then, take care, everyone.
I actually really like Celeste's real
Perhaps
voice.
we'll meet again in another life.
I like Celeste's voice a lot. Beep! Oh my god. She's actually been burnt at the stake. That was such a cool way to die. That was so cool!
Extreme! What are you gonna do?
Let me out of here!
Too bad.
Right, okay.
Strange. Hey! Hey! What?
So then, you...
Ooh!
Hey,
Ooh! How Hello. Well?
What?
See ya.
so...
Hey,
Indeed. Hey,
What?
so...
Come on. What? Goodbye.
well then.
Yo!
Okay.
Shall we go? So then... You... However... What? Indeed. What? It's true. That's fine. Correct.
I'm really interested now. Wait, what the hell?
correct.
So confused, right. Sakura's in a fight with...
Why, you? What do you think you're doing? I asked you a question. How dare? This wasn't part of the deal!
I've made a decision. I will no longer retreat. No longer compromise. No longer regret. I've made my I'm going to resist.
But you do. You haven't forgot what I'm holding.
Actually, no. I'm just going to say this. My biggest suspects, I'm going to be honest, out of everyone, my biggest suspect was Hiro or Sakura. Maybe Toka, but I doubt it. For me, it was mostly Hiro or Sakura because they hadn't been really involved too much. You know? So that's why those two are my suspects, but I guess I was right. Either way, I'm going to end the stream now. Yeah. Peace out, guys, and I'll probably be streaming later on tonight.